Hey everyone, welcome! We'll be streaming and covering the content that released for Animate Worlds Festival's. It's not really a collaboration, but LifeWonders just decided to release a banner of some kind for the sort of in-person event they're attending. And we're also going to be covering some of the EVOs that came out last week. Joining me today is Housamo.
Hello.
It has been too long. And Irby.
Hello.
Nice to see you, Irby. Holding strong. And last but not least, Zelgus.
Hello there.
Welcome. We are going to jump right into it with the ARs. So let's go ahead and cover them now. So this is going to be covered by Irby. Go ahead, whenever you're ready.
Okay, it is the Seth and Gyumao one, isn't it?
Wait, are we starting with that? I thought we were starting with Barguest, Ashigara.
Well, I don't know. I don't know the order. It's Barguest,
right
Ashigara. Okay, let's go. I did not have this thing on.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. None of them are important. So, okay, let's start with the most useless one, even though they're all useless. The Barguest and Ashigara AR is very shitty. It has a turn start effect that grants Spirit to self at 40% base. So, very bad on both the rates and the status effect. Just fucking Spirit only adds 400 flat damage to your attacks. And the other effect is also not very useful. At also a mediocre rate. It's when appearing, it bestows blessing to allies one square around yourself, which is only 50% at base, but if you somehow manage to wait for this AR and max it, it will become guaranteed 100%. This AR is one of the worst I've ever seen. Well, not as bad as some of the 3 stars, but for a 4-star, this is pretty shitty. The Spirit is not going to increase your damage that much. And the Blessing is so common, and having it attached to a when appearing skill, not phase start, when appearing, so it means you only have Blessing for the first 3 turns, and never again. If it procs at 50%, to allies except yourself, it's pretty bad. I would normally recommend this on people with Blessing Strengthening. Unfortunately, I think the only one that can equip this is like Christmas Birthday. Christmas Shoji cannot equip this. Another potential use is use it with Halloween Ellie because it would increase somehow the healing effects. Yes, because Blessing is like one of the only common healing status effects that she can't bestow to allies, so she, as a healer, can benefit from this by being able to heal her allies slightly more, though it's only going to be 300 HP if you have it at level 1, but it's something, I guess. So yeah, that's all my thoughts here. Yes, for 3 turns, yes.
Amazing.
A total of 3 turns, yes. That's all my thoughts outside of the art is very ugly. And there you go.
I think people are gonna wail for this AR the most, but it's just because of the art, honestly. It has bears. People are basic, so... I mean, it's cute, but still.
This art actually is pretty shit because it's by the same guy who did that gross-ass Kuni Alp AR.
Is it? You know, now that I see it, it does have that sort of generic background happening.
No, it's like literally the same dude. Yeah. Like, yeah. I also don't know why Ashi's tongue is just a ball, but whatever. It's a trash AR. Spirit and when appearing Blessing. We're back to that, like, what is it? You know that stupid Warmongers AR for the El Dorado event? There you go.
Oh, even that one is
Blessing
more useful because at
returns.
least that's guaranteed, right? And this is just level 1 blessing at 50%, right?
I mean, why did they even make that shit? This shit. It's so gross. Who would like wail for like when appearing blessing? Jesus.
I'm sure a lot of people will wail for the art anyways, even if it is by that artist.
Yes, I certainly hope not. I absolutely hate this artist. They are indeed a shitty artist for more reasons than one.
Everyone's bullying the artist. I don't even know what they're called though. But at least the food looks nice. Gotta admit that much. We can just move on to the next AR. Skip reading the chat until the last part. So go ahead and talk about the next AR if you will,
Sure.
Birdie.
Okay. We move on to the Gandharva and Thunderbird AR. This AR could have been not shit, but unfortunately it is shit. So basically, every turn you're going to be rolling a 25% chance of getting one turn only of movement expansion. +1. So that would be really nice if you could actually guarantee this, or if it was, or if you actually get it beyond a coin flip even after maxing it. Unfortunately, even if you max it, it's still going to be a coin flip. It's only one turn, so if you're using this on units that you want them to ferry around people, you're going to have to roll for this every single turn if you need that extra movement every turn. So this is pretty bad as well. But at least it is an extra option of getting movement expansion. It also has a very weak on-move healing effect that you also can't guarantee, but at least it starts and ends at a better rate of 45 to 90%. It's not glint bait or anything because ARs can't benefit from skill activation boosts. So it's never going to be 100% either. And even still, it's only going to be 200 HP at max AR level. So yeah, if you want to use this AR, which I don't recommend using it, I would suggest using it on units that you want to move, that you want them to already ferry. Potentially units that already have some form of movement expansion so that you can get that extra edge to be able to reach even further at the beginning of the turn if you're going to re-roll for that additional movement. So stuff like Kersha or Orko Kamui's Onsen variant,
He has extended
Gabriel
movement. I forgot that.
dead. Dead 5. Can even use it on Anbari if you want him to ferry something, but no, don't do that, please. And also any version of Tangaroa except the Mugen one. So yeah, that's all my thoughts. At least the art isn't ugly here. But yeah, that's it.
I mean, I think Gandharva and Thunderbird are intrinsically a bit ugly, so what after this great, even if it's well executed, it's still, the subject isn't very flattering in my eyes.
It's the Sphinx artist, so I'm gonna hate on them anyways.
This is the Sphinx artist.
Yeah.
Well, it's very different from their normal style, but at least that justifies my reason for disliking this art.
Yeah. My thoughts, 25% rate, very poo-poo. After moving healing is kind of cool to have in an AR, but this like amount and rate is way too shit for it to matter, so it's basically not there. We did have after moving healing, and it was on that like 5-star.
Yeah, I think it was maybe guaranteed, but it was still low
AR.
healing. It was essentially just
It was
the
like-
drift as well.
Was it not the Christmas Toji and Ryota one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that one.
Yeah, the clown one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this AR, very shit. Also very unfun. That's a 1-turn irremovable. movement expansion rather than
So you
You
can't
know,
spread
the-
it. Yeah.
classic 3. Yeah. Oh, I still need to add that. But yeah, it's very shit, in my opinion. And I don't recommend pulling for it unless you really care about the bonus that these ARs have next event or something.
Yeah, I was really hoping that the movement expansion was going to be something abusable by Fafnir, because that would have been funny and silly as usual, but unfortunately not. But yeah, that base rate is absolutely atrocious. Also, I only just noticed that Thunderbird's ass is out in this AR.
Yeah, it's some weird tits and ass pose that it's like very straining to get it. But yeah.
Not like physically impossible. So it's a bit of a cubist sort of mystery happening there. I don't know, maybe birds can move their ass independently from their abs or something.
I guess it doesn't matter when we have Batheme in this game.
That's true.
Yeah. Impossible gymnastics.
I'll add 2 things. One is if you are re-rolling, the best case reroll is just the first turn, and honestly the most important turn to be moving really is just the first turn to fairy units. And there's only 2 units that can equip this AR, or we mentioned one of them, that has 2 extended movement, and that would be Gabriel and Sandayu. And the reason why you'd want someone with 2 extended movement is if you add 1 to it, then you'll just be able to move through the entire board on turn 1, if this manages to activate on turn 1, which is nice. And then you might want to go the opposite direction actually and use it on units that are unable to move or rather have restricted movement. So it would be good on Katobopas. Pretty much just Katobopas is the only one who can equip this. So if you wanted to go for his like charm effect that he can inflict, but only when he moves, when he has not. Sorry, what?
No, sorry, no. Sorry, nothing.
You're good. Okay. But yeah, if you move Katobopas, he does have a very high rate of charm, so it might be worth it in that case. And yeah, there's not too much to add to this AR. We can just move on to the next topic, honestly. So let's just hop into the final new AR of this batch.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's me again. This AR is not shit, just kidding. It is pretty shitty as well. All these new ARs are pretty shitty, but this one is the slightly less shitty one. What it does is it attracts enemies on the entire board by 1 square. Unfortunately, not guaranteed, and at a base rate of 40%, but at least it's more manageable. It's more, since it's almost a coin flip, at least you can try to reroll this a little bit more consistently. And it has an after move effect of combo to self at 30%. Once again, none of these are guaranteeable. The rates are still not the best, but you can probably still work with these. Maybe not the combo, but the attract function is at least coin flippable. And if you max it, it's almost guaranteed, so that's still pretty bad, unfortunately. But yeah, normally you'd want this for units that want to move, and preferably for units that have limited range. The ones that would benefit from this the most are the slash and long slash units, but also the other units that could benefit from this are units that have increased effects when hitting enemies, so that they can benefit from the combo as well if they manage to get it at that extremely low rate. Some of the units that benefit from both of these things actually is base LE5 that can bestow evasion for herself at a very low rate, and could also benefit her a lot if she can hit more enemies. enemies twice. She also has a dazzle after attacking, so that's an extra reroll for her. And also Halloween, as a thought, would also benefit from this, since he also has the same evasion effect, and it would also help him get in range of everyone as well. So that would be nice for them. Other units that could potentially benefit from this, although probably not as much, but still benefit a lot from them, are base Gyumao. He's on the art, so you pretty much have to move him if you want to get that break on him. So, and also, yeah.
A rare moment where
And
the
also
feature unit is actually good with their own AR.
Yes. Even though the AR is shit, at least the feature unit can benefit a lot from this. And the other unit, I'm not even sure if I want to say this, but Claude 5, if you really want to.
What the fuck?
And if you're somehow using Claude 5, then sure, he does benefit from both of these things.
The combo to get his charge up faster with that level 1 attack up.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes. And also to increase his rate of ardor. So yeah, there you go. Since he's going to hit more enemies, he's going to have more reroll chances. So yeah, pretty mediocre AR, but you can probably use it. I really don't like the colors on it, but at least it's not offensive as the Barguest one. So there you go.
It's like you'd only use this AR if it's like you need a bow that you don't want to bring behemoths for. So I don't know when that would happen, since behemoths already has that guaranteed double pull. If you want to like have a double pull without behemoths, you could equip it on like Imorp Barguest or Sunshine Z's, Virtual Summer Memory, Ombre Tigre. But again, it's like behemoth exists, so like why? I don't really understand the point of this one when we actually have a lot of other pulling ARs that does it a lot better too. There's just like one chance at 40% rate. I mean, I know it's board wide, but what? And then there's also like, I don't know, I feel like this AR is for the 5-star. While it's useful, the 4-star one from before was probably more useful, the movement expansion one. Just because it's like we only had one other AR that could extend movement, and that one was kind of garbo at rate after attacking. This one though, it's like we have multiple alternatives already for units and ARs, so it's a bit questionable. No, very questionable, honestly.
I think if you like cover your eyes over the 25%, then yeah, sure.
It's not
about
the worst way to do that.
Movement expansion. I mean,
is it not?
This AR, this Gyumao AR is also kind of shit because like even if you wail for it, it's still like Sunshine, Xmas Z's like, oh no, I failed my face start pull, even if you wail. So it's like, I don't know why they're like so averse to just giving a 50-100 rate. It's like, come on.
They are for
if like somebody's getting
boost
like,
ARs at least. Like let's
I mean,
be
if
real.
like somebody's pulling for this shit, like they should at least give good rates.
Yeah, I think they might need to change their business model entirely when it comes to gacha ARs. Because even if this was 100%, like you're not going to use this for farming. It's just a resource loss if you use it for farming. So it's like it's just for challenges, and at that point you can reroll as much as you want. So yeah, it would be shit at 40% or 25% for every area you're looking at, but it's also just challenges. You only need to win once. So really you're just playing this for the art at the end of the day. And I do think Seth looks exactly like Seth, but Gyumao is rather off model. He kind of looks like Gyumao if he was drawn in Eidos.
I think it's okay because it's a bomb. And
That's true.
bombs are kind of like, how am I gonna draw this in my style? Like, without like some heavy reinterpretation. So yeah.
I mean, I kind of like when they keep the original style, but I guess if you want to force it into a different style, I guess this is an okay generic hotball. But I think Gyumao's pose is a bit too try-hard and trying to be hot. Awkwardly pulling off his tie while his clothes are ripping off and burning away. Okay, sure.
I think it's like fine considering all the shitty Kurogane ARs we've had, where he looks whack as fuck.
Potato syndrome.
Yeah, Kurogane
Like-
always looks different.
Like, remember Kurogane, flat Stanley hands, and then
The Yaoi hands.
Kurogane,
And it's like
weird ass head.
potato head with Nomad, and then there was also where he had like a square face, and the one where he's with the faceless and maybe a Matsumara or is it
A
I can't remember.
Matsumara.
Something like that, yeah.
It was a Matsumara. Yeah. But yeah, I'm totally on board with his version of Gyumao, considering the Bomb track record drawn by other artists is pretty bad.
That's true.
Yeah.
I just think of that that other Gyumao Seth one, the free one, I think it was, where
There's
Oh,
one
yeah.
with Sumi, yeah, where
yeah,
Gyumao
Oh, the hyper
looks
stylized one.
really
You mean?
fucking weird.
yeah, the one where Seth has this massive grin and Gyumao's like winking at him. It looks really weird to me. So, but yeah, I think the art for this is fairly nice. Well, especially compared to the other Gyumao ones, as you say. I don't know why they're so allergic to making base rates and even max rates so awful, or allergic to making them good
They're not
in this banner,
These
especially.
gacha ARs, or rather booster ARs. They have actual guaranteed rates, which is funny.
Yeah, it's very silly. Like, you know, they're supposed to be making them stronger when they get dupes, and I guess they make them stronger, but it's not significant. Ugh. What about? I don't know. The effect would be cool, like especially the combo, because there's a lot of units who would like to have combo
Nah,
to mess about with certain
I
things.
disagree. I looked at the list of units who could have covered this earlier. Pretty much none of them would benefit from combo significantly. So,
But
it's not worth it.
it's not even okay. So they didn't even pick the units who would want it. Great.
I don't know.
Well,
I
never
feel
mind
like
that then.
Azeroth could benefit from this a lot.
He could,
considering
but he
his
doesn't
ability.
need to move otherwise, right? So it's like you're moving him just for 30% combo.
No. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. Okay, we're done talking about the poo-poo ARs, because ARs are always poo-poo if they're from gachas, so feel free to read the chat, Irby.
Okay. Zerong emoji. Hi guys. Oh, what's this? Hello everyone. Oh my god, bears. Reminds me I still need to see Ashigara. This art makes me want to eat Chawamuchi one day, if that's how you can pronounce it.
But what it was?
I skipped the AR banner. Hope they are exchangeable with plat tickets. LMAO. The few bird lovers got crazy over that AR too.
Really?
Gandharva Christmas out is coming.
Didn't they already have like a Thunderbird Gandharva AR?
Yes, actually, I forgot to say this, but these ARs
Or just like,
are pretty shady because all of the pairs have already been done in other ARs.
yeah, it's so
so-
weird. The
There
what's
was no
called-
point to any of these ARs.
There was the OJT AR for Gyumao and Seth, which was the commemorative one. And then there was also
yeah,
the
there's the one
Ashigara
with
and Barguest
Hakuman.
one, right? There's one for them too, right?
Yeah, there is. And the bird ones have Hakuman in them as well, but she's kind of to the side as well. So all of these pairs have already been before. So, I don't know what the point was. They're not related to the current events whatsoever. Not even the AGF, but sure. I guess it's just something for the furry lovers to have to roll for, because it's pretty dry right now. There's only like fashion soft.
Yeah, I
And
don't
AGF
really
banner.
get the theme of the AGF banner. The proper transient ones, that is. It's like besides Shamash, which we'll get to.
It's
It's like you look at the
Yeah.
event details of their booth, and none of these units are particularly featured. So it's really just random ass units they picked.
it's just what they think. What they think people that attend the convention want, I
You
guess.
mean the Fujoshi?
Which I can see it. I can see it.
I guess.
Last year's one was funnier though. But
But
I
the
digress.
AR summon makes no sense at all. It's a commemorative thing that obviously.
yeah, the ARs make absolutely no sense. This is ridiculous. Nothing. This AR banner is completely random.
Okay, big disclaimer for everyone. Don't pull gotcha ARs, like, period. It's not just for this banner, just don't. It's not worth it nowadays. Maybe one day it'll change, but it's not worth it.
You mean with like stones, right?
Yeah, well. I don't know.
Because I mean, like AR tickets, it's that's the only time you can like use them. So
yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
If you have your favorite character, sure, why not go for that? They're useless, anyways.
Can't wait for you to be ruined by next year's reprint of this event with the the Gordon AR that has like a 10% rate of spirit, and then you spend all your stones for it.
I mean, to be honest, the Afghari ARs haven't been that bad. As bad as these ones, at least. They're bad, but not that as bad. Gazer Beyond. Any source or just your theory? He can draw adults. His VA just voiced this AR. It's half joke, half theory. Thank you, Zoryu, for providing us with delicious bowls. There's only one. Hi. Honestly, it's pretty hard to translate Beaumont's style depending on who it is.
I liked how what's it called? Ichiboshi did it. That's the one that drew the leaked ARs, right? I think he did best. Because he also draws the MC pretty nice too.
I don't remember.
Which leak they are?
It's like the leaked Fumi one as well as just the Tycoons one. That's the same artist, so I think that was Ichi. But yeah, he's also drawn Magnus, and it's pretty good too.
I thought it was like Plus No Konbu or somebody.
Oh yeah, it was probably Konbua. For some reason, I keep on getting those two mistaken.
Okay, yeah. Because I was like, who the fuck is this Ichiboshi person? Like, the T-Bird artist? Yeah. I don't know. Okay, you can go back.
Yeah.
Kirby.
Okay. Let's go back to reading. Gyumao looks good here. He looks pretty alright to me here. Gyumao looks pretty good in this. Housamo does have some female players. I was referring to Bigfoot. No one talked about Bigfoot. I don't understand that.
I think they were just talking about bulls in general, but I don't know. All right, let's move on. We're finally going to be talking about... What are we talking about now? We're talking about... Oh, God, I'm going to be talking about Shamash, the one new Transient, and the AGF commemorative banner that released.
Why'd you pick that picture?
Because the main one is not working. Anyways.
Is it not?
Yeah, I just picked whatever's working. I used to be picky and tried to get the best image, but it doesn't even matter in the end. Anyway, so Shamash. Fun fact: I always ask what everyone wants to pick before the stream begins, and everyone in the stream right now explicitly said they didn't want to talk about Shamash for a good reason. I'll get to it right now, but he's just for a 5-star infinite unit. That is like the one new thing you would pull for this banner. He definitely undelivers in the exact same energy that last year's Ishbalanke did. But to be more explicit of what he does. First things first, I know you want me to talk about the flat damage thing first, but I'll actually start with a different topic. He is a charge column player. He does start with a massive amount of CP, but not quite at 100, which is weird. And he also receives 20 CP every time he's hit, or whenever he attacks. This primes him up to have his charge up on the second turn and have his charge up on subsequent turns very quickly. And when he is at 100 CP, he can inflict Stigma after moving, which is a good thing because he has a 2x advantage against Stigma on his charge. He could also get the Stigma up on the enemies through his other effect, the global effect of towards all his allies, storing them a skill where enemies that hit them will then receive Stigma. He also has Order on Charge and on Self to allies, so that amplifies his damage a tiny bit. And he has Concentration on turn start when his CP is at 80 or greater. So the exact amount of damage he'll be doing on his charge with Stigma and Concentration, which he should be getting if you actually want him to do damage, is going to be 124,000 damage. So over 100k. It is boss killing. Completely self-sufficient. It's nice enough, and the fact that he can get up quickly might be plenty long ago, which I'll get to with the rest of this kit. To describe how you'll want to use this unit for what kinds of quests for what sort of teams. So the more notable thing about his kit that everyone probably paid attention to immediately when he first released was his punishing effects. So as I mentioned before, he does have that bestowed skill to allies as well as his self that lets anyone who is hit inflict stigma on the enemy that hit them. In addition to that, he also does a bit of a flat damage as well as a charge fill reduction on enemies that hit him as well as all other enemies on the board. So every time he's hit, all enemies suffer that effect, which is quite nice, theoretically. And he also has debuff bind on enemies with another 3 times to area ahead of him whenever he's debuffed himself. So that contributes to his punishing abilities. And he has burn on the combatant, hits him. I don't know what that contributes to, but it's there. That technically counts as part of his punishing ability. And yeah, that's pretty much the sum total of what he can do to punish the enemy. As in, he gets hit, then something bad happens to the enemy. He can, as a punisher, he does have some very minute effects to mitigate damage a tiny bit, because you would be a pretty shitty punisher if you didn't have any way to mitigate that damage. But yeah, as I said, he's able to bind the enemies only after he's debuffed though, and he has the ability to remove debuffs from himself when his charge fill is over 50 CP. And very confusingly, he does have a stackable defense buff that is very weak on its own, and at full 3 stacks or moving on 3 turns in a row is still very weak. Still not reducing even 50% damage. And he does also have a bit of a resistance to darkness as well as a bit of healing on charge. I think overall though his tanking abilities is essentially so miniature as to not even be there for the most. And I don't really know where to add these 2 parts, but he burns himself when he's hit and he bestows glint to allies when he moves. Those parts kind of contribute to nothing whatsoever to the rest of this kit.
Well, the burn when he's hit is to help him trigger the bind, I guess. That's it.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Well,
What? That was like the whole point of that kit.
Okay, well, sorry, but I was focused on the other Mimi parts of his kit that... Okay, I guess that's pretty good, that he's able to trigger his own debuff for bind at an 80% rate, anyways. The glint, though, it still doesn't really make too much sense, but yeah. That adds to his punching ability, I suppose. So yeah, recommendations for this unit. Everyone's thinking it already. Bring Gorengach. He's perfectly suited for this unit because it'll just stack the amount of units that will hit him. Will just be every unit, and they'll do very minimal damage because of that all-range multiplier. And all the enemies on board at a 60% rate, because that's the rates you get with Shamash, will take a good amount of damage. So if there's like 5 enemies on board, then that's 5,000 damage to every enemy, I believe. I think so. I'm doing my math wrong, I think. There's something wonky about my math. Yeah, I think it's 5,000. Which is enough to clear mobs every turn. Unfortunately, I did test them out myself, and his defense measures are just kind of really weak enough that he's not going to be able to survive on his own, even with Gorengach mitigating damage like that. So you really should bring him with a healer and damage mitigator to actually take advantage of that part of his kit. In addition, if you're going to be playing around that kind of team that doesn't just blow up everything instantly, because like this is clearly the only case you would use them, not to blow everyone instantly, but instead to do the long game, then you would most likely want to be using some sort of tankier setup that has occasional damage, and in which case his charge filling abilities can come in handy to deal with bosses and any large HP enemies every few turns. But yeah, he's definitely a unit. That's all my thoughts on it.
I think it's probably not worth the effort outside of the bind because we kind of already have a unit that does all these punishing effects outside of that bind better than Shamash, which is Peshinista Zabanya. But the advantage is that Shamash can actually do damage. But in either case, it's a very underwhelming kit. A lot of these abilities aren't even guaranteed, which makes it even worse. So yeah, I would say this is a pretty shitty unit outside of that bind effect, which is actually not too bad and not too hard to guarantee.
I didn't think I would be so disgusted by a stackable buff effect, like a unique stackable buff effect, since what's his face? No, I was going to say Jacob, Snowfight Jacob, where he had that stupid clock that they programmed badly and it didn't work right, so he would keep dropping his buffs. Yes, I'm glad they fixed it. So there's that at least. But this stackable buff is actually one of the worst ones ever. You have to move him, but it's a 3-turn ramp up for a defense buff that's worse than tenacity. Are you for real? And he has no other reason to move besides glint and stigma. So I don't know what the deal is here. It's just the part of the kit that confuses me the most. They could have given him anything other than this strange defense clock, but they gave him that and just made his defensive worse. Why didn't they just give him protection on move? It's a mystery. And yeah, the rest of his kit is stupid. I don't know, I hate him.
Just close it off.
Actually, I actually think he looks nice enough, but this kit is definitely not it.
Yeah, the after debuff bind kind of reminds me of Halloween Abisu.
Did he have something like that? Oh yeah, I guess he did have some sort of thing on Miss.
He had after buff. He had after buff bind and freeze. Halloween Abisu. So this is after debuff. And it's fine that he can trigger it himself with the burn. I guess you could add some team debuffers to trigger it, or maybe there's some AR out there which does it. But honestly, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. He's just shit. The ADCP, and he's supposed to be this shot range, charge up. Kind of just reminds me of Valentine's Snow. So it's
Valentine's Snow.
So why are we going all the way back there for kit design? It's kind of gross.
Yeah, it's so in isolation it doesn't seem to be a problem because it works in these stall teams and having occasional damage if you commit to it. But it's we have board wipers that destroys everything every turn already, and column clears that destroys everything every turn, so why would you want to do this? It's not even that good defensively either. Or not good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty as a defensive Punisher unit.
Yeah, so it's kind of Summer Dagon, but at least Summer Dagon had the attack up thing. So it's just I don't know, it's just why does this kit exist? Whatever. It's all the better for me if AGF is a shitty banner. Because who wants to pull on an AGF banner, right?
I'm just waiting for next year's AGF, and then they add Shamash and Ishblanki and yet another shit unit. And they do that every year. until it's just a full banner full of garbage.
Yes.
I mean, that's probably what they're.
The current banner doesn't have a lot already.
Yeah. You have like Fashionista Soft.
And
We did have an
Tsukiyomi.
Evo, but nobody remembers.
I remember it. It was
No one
bad.
uses Tsukiyomi. No one uses.
It's like, why use Tsukiyomi if you have Jurong? He's just... And Oz, you know? The one thing he does is spread rare debuffs, but you can just spread any rare debuff now with Oz, so it doesn't even matter.
I guess there's Kanan Tangaroa, but maybe next year it will be replaced by another shitty 5-star.
Maybe. Kanan Tango is fine with Heat Stun though. Still pretty good. He's just like, you know, it's slightly not as amazing now that Daphne exists. Still has his uses over him, but yeah. Anyway, don't pull AGF. We're gonna move on to the Evos now. So, none of these units are currently printing in Raid Up anymore, but nonetheless, none of these units were new in the first place, so we're gonna be talking about them from the pickup banner that had passed last week. Starting off with Gyobu. This is going to be covered by... I didn't write the
But we're not reading the comment?
Oh, right. Actually, I'll read the comments. I just wanted to get out of Shamash so badly that I left. Alright. I'll read the comments. Where did we let off?
Probably
I don't remember either.
Bigfoot.
Oh yeah, Bigfoot, yes.
Kinda amazing.
Yep. Kind of amazing that he's worse than a 4-star Gurren Gotch. I mean, it's kind of hard to be worse than... Or, what am I saying? It's pretty easy to be worse than Gurren Gotch, because Gurren Gotch is unironically one of the better units in the game. Just for his utility reasons. Not for farming, but... Shamash is definitely one of the units you want to keep an eye out for if you do have Gurren Gotch. Not the best choice with him, but he's still pretty good. But still, Gurren Gotch memes. It's a bit extra. They have synergy at least with a unique defense buff. No, I don't buy that Prisma. It's like you're not gonna be wanting to stack something that's worse than like fucking Tenacity or just to stack it with Tenacity when you can just stack a bunch of other defense buffs from other units that require to move. Like Tindalos, you know, you can move him instead to get Tenacity and Protection. Why would you want to move Shamash for 3 turns for something that's worse than either? It's just, no, it doesn't work.
It's like stacking nourishment,
No.
except
I was actually thinking, wow, this is just like Nourishment, the stack ball, but yeah, it's like worse.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
yeah, because defensively, no.
Shamash really just dropped a bad kit, and the revelation that there's a guild outside of Tokyo and is bio and called it. I didn't know that, but since it's in this kit, I will not call it spoiler accusations. Salve mano so do Basila. Welcome from Canada. OMG, what did you miss so far? You missed... What did you even talk about? You missed all the AGF content, except for Shamash, you're midway through that. So you didn't miss much. ARs and Shamash, yep. Nothing much, they're all bad. Don't pull on AGF. Save your stones. Anniversary's coming. Oz is the best unit in the entire game. That is uncontestably true, so definitely listen to Jerbear in that instance. 50% CP drain, that means 50% chance to do nothing. Did he have that? Oh yeah, he does have that. I already forgot. That's like minimal CP drain too, like... You're not gonna be denying anything of that. Okay, moving on. Sorry for skipping the chat last time, but we will now see it was Gyobu, and this is going to be covered by Zalgus. Go ahead.
Alright then, so onto something a bit more interesting in my opinion than Shamash, but that's not very hard, honestly. So this is adding on to Gyobu's previous debuff roulette thing. His Evo now gives him confusion and healing reversal before hitting at an 80% rate. Unlike his previous Evo where it was on like a 3-turn clock, confusion and healing reversal are always available, so that's nice. They're both pretty rare debuffs, more so healing reversal. Healing reversal is only on Hermes for Night Festival, Ellie, and Seamerg right now, so very rare. And reversal can be pretty crucial on some challenge quests, so when it's relevant, it's really great for Gyobu. It really gives him a lot of utility there. And confusion is, of course, good to inhibit inhibit movement naturally. Works better against like sniper thrust and shot range, but Gyobu has magic range, of course, so he can abuse it to its fullest, since he has the range to confuse people from out of their attack range. He also applies this debuff, which causes enemies to take 4k flat damage when they miss, which seems like a ridiculously niche ability to me, but you might be able to get some use out of it by combining it with confusion to just make them miss. So, like, confuse a short range unit from the side and then they'll hit nothing. Or I guess you could also throw it at none units, because they would always take the 4k flat damage, but that one doesn't seem exceptionally useful. I don't know, maybe you can give them combo. No, I was going to make a joke about giving them combo, but I think the only one who can do that is Guru and Gach, and then they're going to have all range, so never mind that. The other notable part of his Evo is his new defenses. So his Blood of the Beast got changed from on-move tenacity to move phase end tenacity, which is an interesting change, if only for the fact that it's the first time they straight up changed the trigger timing, and in this case it's for the better. No longer do you have to move and waste the slot for tenacity. Gyobu just automatically gives himself tenacity every turn, which does wonders for his survivability. Between his darkness and his regeneration in his other Evo, he'll actually be decently tanky, and also at the end of move phase he gives protection to allies adjacent. Unfortunately, this... Someone just leave?
Oh, Irby. Well, sure, I'll pop in eventually, but continue.
Okay, that just surprised me. No. Yeah, so unfortunately the protection to allies adjacent has a completely awful rate of 60%, so it's really not to be relied upon. It'll be nice when it triggers, and Gyobu does give himself glint at phase start now, so it's 70% for 2 turns at least. Still not great, but yeah. And lastly, he gains crit plus if his CP is 100%, or 100 on turn start, which makes his CS have a 5 times extra multiplier, which is nice. Also, since it's turn start, it does mean it's available for people to copy or steal. They'd probably make better use of it than Gyobu, since Gyobu himself isn't really made for attacking. So, you could have like Fafnir copy it or something off of him for a big turn, 1 turn burst. Not that I think he needs the help. I guess if Gyobu is CS locked, he could also make use out of the crit plus for more than 1 turn, because he'll remain at 100 CP. But Gyobu has no way to build up CP himself, so he'll need help if you, for some reason, really want to abuse his crit plus. I just realized Fafnir would also benefit from Gyobu in that Gyobu has... Oh wait, no, never mind. That's move phase end, so never mind.
Maybe you should.
I was thinking he might be able to steal the
analyzing
tenacity
before the stream starts.
Yeah, well, sorry. I got thinking about things as I talk. Oh well. So with the new crit plus, Gyobu's CS will deal 61.3k damage if he still has his vigor. Without vigor, he'll be dealing 25.5k damage, so it's a fairly good burst of damage, but he's not going to be CSing it enough for it to make a huge difference, probably. You might get him as, say, if you bring him into a CQ, you might get like him to assist with a big burst at some point. Overall, it's an okay Evo, but it's not spectacular, I would say. The damage mitigation is a lot better with his automatic tenacity and sometimes protection, and he has further debuff utility in confusion and healing reversal, which are both rare things. The most notable thing, though, is that he now inflicts 5 debuffs when he attacks. He inflicts obstruct, nullify debuff, or nullify buff, confusion, heal, reversal, and then 1 of darkness, drain, or weakness. And this pairs really well with Zhurong, who can refresh all of Gyobu's debuffs besides weakness and deal flat damage for each debuff. By inflicting 5 debuffs, Zhurong will deal 10k flat damage alone, although Zhurong already inflicts darkness, but whatever. It means he can spread it to more people, since Juron won't be able to cover the entire map on his own. And Gyobu will also pair well with anyone who deals extra damage to debuffs, of which it's only Kirito, Summer Volos, and Halloween Alice. Halloween Alice can bestow it to allies. With 5 debuffs, Kirito and Volos would gain a 7.6 times multiplier on turn 1, which is fairly substantial, especially considering Gyobu doesn't have the move to give them that. Halloween Alice gives 1.4 times multiplier to self and allies, which is a 5.38 times multiplier from Gyobu's 5 debuffs. You could actually stack these two on Kirito and Volos if you ran Halloween Alice with them. Probably not worth doing it, but if you had those two together, it would be a 40.8 times multiplier, which could be a funny meme. Some silly debuff team. I don't think it'll actually be worth it because they'll have really poor range with slash and thrust, but the option is there. So yeah, it's an okay Evo. It has some niche synergies, and with heal reversal and confusion, I think he has more general use. And now he's actually tanky, so he'll stick around. So yeah, it's okay. It's definitely not the next Evo I have to read, but yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I think it's an okay Evo. Actually, I shouldn't say okay. I should say it's a good Evo. Even though his role is still pretty random, I'd say it helped him become a slightly more useful unit for a variety of reasons. Not just the random clock thingy that they gave him in the last skill evolution, but now he's can actually become sort of an okay-ish defensive unit, and also somehow still deal a lot of damage on the CS if you manage to time it right. But otherwise, yeah, it's an alright unit with a bunch of debuffs and unique effects.
Yeah, so in my opinion, it's pretty good, I guess. The Evo's kind of like one of those kitchen sink Evos, like, I don't know, Ahab. They copied like Ahab's like random ass CP equals 100 crit plus to him. It's just like, okay, why is that there? I think like the most significant part is probably just healing reversal being so rare, but they'll probably die more and more as the game goes on and they keep adding it to kits. And yeah, the total amount of debuffs being given being rather high is pretty nice. I actually really like move phase end stuff, especially if it's like something like tenacity. So
Yeah,
that's a
same.
change that's kind of nice.
You remember I was kind of what's called glowing over AMS Achihiko's kit for similar reasons, as well as Gangwei.
Yeah.
It's nice that we're getting a bunch of non-moving tanks now, because it's like, I don't know why they did it for so many years, but like pretty much all major tanks had to move for some reason. That's nice for, like, even for 4 stars, we're just getting a bunch that can defend allies as well as themselves without needing to move. Very generous.
Yeah. I've been playing around with stuff like Gyumao a lot, so seeing like, you know, auto tenacity is kind of nice to see. So I don't know if like Gyobu's amazing in like challenge stuff, because I'm pretty sure you're not going to use them in farming, but
Nah, you're not.
there's probably like, you know, some potential in like challenge quests for like
I think
people who are on Gamma G Copium and have him like seated. That like, yeah, you can use Gyobu now.
yeah,
Well,
like
you could always have with like affiliations, but yeah.
you might have like the most debuffs inflictable for a unit. Granted, like most of them are pretty low impact, and just because of that fact, it's like he's kind of like a complete slave to Jurong teams. It's like every time I brought Jurong to various things I was just recording, maybe it's just because of recency bias, but I kept on remembering to bring Gyobu instead of any other unit. Because it's like,
Yeah.
other units maybe bring like 3 or 4 debuffs at most, but he's bringing like 8 in total, including his Dazzle on charge. So that's a bit OD. If you are bringing a Jurong team though, I think it would be good to complement the debuffs, of course. It happens that Tindalos is a dragon variant. Actually has a bunch of debuffs that doesn't overlap with Gyobu as well. It's like, what is it again? Burn and
Like burn, buff reversal.
skill lock on charge, madness, and fatal poison. Yeah, that's a lot of debuffs that aren't on top of that. And if you're using Jurong with that, that's like 13 different debuffs he's refreshing. And remember, his effect is to reduce HP to like by 1,000 times each time, so it's... I'm already halfway there to countdown just from those two. It's kind of funny. Stupid, because you could just do countdown instead, or just blow everyone up instantly, but it's a funny option at least. But yeah, I like the fact that he can both what's called not have to move for defending, as well as healing as well. And, you know, I kind of remembered Gyobu before this Evo because he was kind of one of the best units to give regeneration. Since most others are just like to self at best, or they needed to move like, I don't even know. Like Gyobu's like one of the very few ones who can give it without moving from attacking. Well, no, it's all the what's called general purpose unit, and very weird debuff specialties. Okay, that's all my thoughts.
I think that's everyone's thoughts.
Right, I was hoping for someone else to continue it, but then I was like, oh yeah, I'm the one leading this stream. Okay, you can read the chit chat now, Telgus.
Gyobu and
Yeah.
Kushi.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Gyobu and Kushi are pretty similar kit-wise. Which one would be best? Yeah, Kuchi has countdown. Was Kuchi turns or move phase end debuffs, or I forget his trigger timing?
I don't know, it's probably move phase end.
Kushi's like very weird because there's like 3 of them, I think, like after being hit, after debuff and stuff.
I think he's talking about the clock.
Yeah.
That was from his recent Evo.
Oh, the
but,
clock.
But yeah, his
That one's a move phase end, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see it now. I mean, they're both pretty automatic when they're debuffing, but they're all there.
Kushi does
Fair.
function similarly though.
all
A bunch of
the
debuffs and a clock, and he does healing and defense mitigation too, I believe, but he does have to move.
Yeah. Well, I think Kuchi can, since he can inflict stigma on turn 1, I don't want to outright say I would prefer that, but it's not really easy to say which one would be best. If you want the healing reversal, Gyobu is, automatically just better, since very few others can replicate that. But if, say, that you really want that countdown, then Kuchi will be better. But I don't know, it's hard to just equate them like that. Also, Gamma units need all the help they can get. Yes, they do. Bio crying face. No variance means skill evos, even second ones. Yeah. I mean, we've gotten a fair few second skill evos without them being gammas, I think. 60%, if this were Nezha, that wouldn't be a problem. 60% what?
The protection.
Oh, right, that. We'll get onto Nezha in a bit and be disgusted by it. And Garma still ignored. What do you mean I'm still here? Irby is a collective delusion. You disconnected, like, randomly, Irby. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
Yeah, it was on purpose. Discord was kind of whack.
Oh, okay. Could be worse. You could be Shinya. What was his charm weakening or something?
And his ability to remove attack buffs, but only for 1 turn, so it wouldn't even preempt anything.
Very cool. Shinya is a rat, yet his bodyguards are infinitely better than him. That's correct. Taromaiti and Kalki are both quite strong. Like, more than quite strong, and then Shinya's useful. Useless, rather. I mean, I guess they're good to guard him then, because they're so much stronger than him. Taromaiti girl bossing, but Gyobu getting tenacity for free. Excellent. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm late again, sorry. Hello, Oddly. Just pair him with Oz and give every enemy confusion. GG easy. Yes, that's definitely an option. Spreading 5 debuffs to the entire board could be nice. Yeah, that's all. Hello.
Okay. Okay, on the arrival. We're gonna be moving on to next Evo now. This is going to be Taromaiti. Milk actually made a video of this recently. I didn't see it yet because it is part of the challenge quest I'll be doing later. But I recommend everyone check it out because I think it's probably a good meme. Which is also why I selected Milk to talk about this topic. So go ahead, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so they gave Taromaiti a 3rd skill evolution, which buffs Enchantress. So the first thing they did was double Enchantress's rate, so now it's 20 to 40% of applying charm to the people that hit Taromaiti. They then gave Taromaiti this non-buff weakening, which basically means that on phase start for 4 turns, which basically means that if an enemy does not have removable buffs, they will get hit for 1.5 times more damage. So now Taromaiti is kind of like a board-wide damage amplifier. The next part, which is probably the part which is most interesting, or at least useful, immediately useful for people, is this skill lock. Before hitting, apply skill lock to hit units and enemies adjacent to them at a 40 to 80% rate. This basically means that Taromaiti is a very strong skill locker, and it has a pretty good range due to the fact that it also applies to the enemies adjacent to the people she hits. So even if she's a thrust unit, this is bigger than what it might immediately suggest. On move phase end, she also applies skill lock immunity to herself and allies adjacent to herself. So that's kind of neat if the skill lock that she applied got like reflected somehow. She has this random when appearing HP loss reversal to everyone on the team. It's when appearing, so it only happens once, but it's kind of nice for like, you know, random shit like
Like,
I guess like, you know, Beowulf and Loki. This event is probably a good example where they have that, you know, flat damage out of nowhere. And the last effect, which is rather unassuming but pretty strong, is actually kind of really good, is that she also gets phase start concentration at a guaranteed rate. So very fun, because one is that all the rates I said before now just automatically have a plus 10%. And this basically means that she only needs glint or skill seeding to guarantee the 80% rates that I mentioned before. Okay, so I ran the calculations on Taromaiti's damage, because currently she has concentration and weakness and this non-buff weakening. And I calculated that she deals 20k damage per square as a thrust unit without seeding.
21k if you want to count that flat damage effect she has.
Okay, I don't really care about that, but yeah.
Okay.
And then I was using like Gaskins, who's actually had her like, you know, maxed. Well,
Almost
maxed. Yeah. And she was dealing like 33k damage per square. So Taromaiti is actually kind of like a significant damage dealer now. And to be honest, she's also actually a pretty good tank, even though it doesn't really seem that way. Because in her other skill evolution, where she applied like evasion to herself and this triple remove buff to hit enemies, this kind of like makes it so that she can actually like dodge and reduce damage to herself quite a bit. And part of it is just due to this like concentration that she just got like out of nowhere. So that's very fun. Also due to the new like Enchantress proc rate.
It's like almost 50%
Yeah.
the skill seeding then, the evasion.
Yeah, on Gaskins it's like pretty good
Yeah.
because she's just like suddenly dodging with evasion, and then charm might pop off, and then you know there's all this remove buff stuff.
And she also
And then
has curse and also protection to allies.
Yeah.
So she has like a lot of defensive stuff.
Yeah, the protection doesn't apply to herself, so I didn't really count it, but yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a lot in her kit now among, you know, between the new skill evolution and the one she had before.
Not the first
So
one.
yeah. Yeah, nobody cares about that one. Yeah. I don't really think too much about this non-buff weakening. I think you do have to be careful of like applying buffs to the enemies if you have like, you know, the guts resistance AR, or if you're doing something with like buff reversal, but I don't think it's usually that much of an issue. Basically giving your team like free 1.5x damage is pretty cool, even if it's like nourishment level, because it's board wide. So I think that's pretty nifty to have on like a perma 4-star. I think what most people will be using her for would be the skill locking. I think the most obvious combo would just be to use her with Summer Oz, because as has already been said, she has that like Dark Lord skill, which gives curse. She gives weakness to people she hits, and she has that remove buff. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do to spread her to increase her range. I guess you can use Sphinx, but I don't really like Sphinx, so yeah. I think the 70% rate for the magic range is kind of annoying. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say except that in practice she's actually very strong, and
Yeah,
she's probably really good for countering a lot of stuff. Yeah.
I would have to agree with you, and I want to add on immediately to it. Can you confirm with me? I mean, you might not have researched this, but I feel like Taromaiti straight up has like the highest skill lock rate in the game now, offensively, because like most of the guaranteeable or guaranteed ones were after being hit or some shit like that. But Taromaiti is like the one that is actually guaranteeable, and you know, not requiring move but on attack, so it can be Oz too.
I'll just look it up, because it's pretty high considering it's like 80%, but it's really like being buffed to 90%.
And also you skill see it, and it's straight up just guaranteed. That's insane.
I think
Her
Marduk
master
probably
has
win.
90%.
I think Marduk technically wins.
Doesn't he
Yeah.
miss though? That doesn't really count.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
There's Ahura
If you're-
Mazda. There you go. The blow range.
Doesn't like no.
Blow
I think
or thrust.
realistically,
Oh, no, it's in
she's
thrust.
probably-
Never mind. I forgot it's thrust. Yeah.
Doesn't he like resist weapon change, or is that the other little unit? No, I'm just useless from resistance.
It's move phase end anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that would be Taromaiti is like the most useful,
It's so ridiculous what her kit is. You know what's so wrong with
because
this
it's
kit?
before hitting. So.
It's like she does.
What?
She counters literally everything in the game. Well, almost everything in the game. She has damage. She has damage mitigation to an extreme amount of evasion. She can be Oz completely fine. She doesn't need to bring piercing or guts resistance AR because she can just remove them. and she can skill lock enemies to prevent them from reviving, for example. So it's like most of the relevant kind of gimmicks and mechanics and quests for both farming and for challenge quests, she kind of just shits on completely with good damage. It's insane.
Yeah. The triple remove buff, you'd need like Smoky God to complement, since it's at like a 50% rate with her concentration. But yeah, I see what you mean.
I mean, for those that do have that setup, which you do and I do, and it's not too difficult to set up because Taromaiti is permanent, Smoky God's permanent. I'm sure there's plenty of Alchemigans on support. So all you need really is just an Oz, which you could have gotten from the last time it did recently. And then
Are you going to skill seed her?
I might. I don't know. It's a bit tempting to, but it's also like, why bother when it's already everything's guaranteed or near guaranteed, except for the evasion. With Smoky God.
I think it would guarantee the skill. Oh, you want to also use Smoky God?
I mean, okay. I am obviously.
Sure, I guess so.
That, yeah. It's just extremely potent. She's already strong by herself for skirmishing and all that, as Harvey would put it, but it's just like if you're doing it with Smoky God and Walk On and Oz, it's like there's no challenge for anything in the game, like at all. It's kind of funny.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's up with this Evo. It's like I said, Gyobu's Evo's okay, and I still think it's fine. But then Taromaiti comes in with the real big hitter of the banner, where they just like what was her purpose even before? Sometimes removing all 3 buffs and applying weakness, and that was about it really. And I guess curse. But now they just gave her a whole new set of skills that add new effects, but also complement the other ones with concentration and all that. So it's a very impressive Evo, and I kind of wish they would do it more often, because Taromaiti was definitely like one of those units who was basically next to useless. Okay, well maybe not next to useless with her triple remove buff, but there are plenty of other units in Gen 1 who are languishing in horrible states. LifeWonders.
Imagine using Gandharva in this day and age.
Right. I forgot to mention, but
Give me Gambler plus.
Yes.
it could happen. We got one for Rocks, I believe. But regarding Taromaiti, because she doesn't need to bring the Guts Resistance or the Piercing Air, which she can bring both, but she doesn't have to. She can, because of her attribute as well as her really shitty native range, she ends up having the privilege to a lot of the strongest ARs on the game. It's kind of funny. Actually, I have a list for this. Might be a bit long though, so I'll try to trim it down for you guys. But I would recommend the Goemon Volus AR on her, because it just goes combo, and that's like the one thing, I guess, one of the mechanics she can't tell monthly hits. She can also equip the Brawn Strengthening AR with Licho and Motosumi, since she'll be getting Brawn anyways from Walk-On Mugen if you're using that setup. And she has like shit ton of ARs even if you're not using that setup. Such as you could bring some of the pulling ARs or combo on miss. You could bring the Boogeyman Jurong for Unction AR, or even more defense, because she has an insane amount of defense for some reason, even though she already has an insane amount of damage and insane amount of utility. And some of my favorite units or ARs to bring that are not directly on her, since they're going to be spread anyways, was freaking Walk-On Mugen, is the attack down resistance AR. Since she doesn't have any native resistance to that, you could just spread that effect to her, so that her damage won't be mitigated. And you could also bring the Kurgani Nomad one for concentration strengthening on the entire board. Yeah, she does a lot, and she has a lot of potency that just balloons with ARs.
Did Abby say anything?
He said a bit, but
no. Everyone already said everything. There's not a lot to say. It's a pretty good skill evolution.
I have one thing to say to Irby.
It was definitely deserved.
I have one thing to say to Irby, and that is Taromaiti's Evo is better than Tindalos's. That is all. Bye.
because of that. Because of that one
It's
strat.
so busted
I
though.
think
It's that
this
one
was-
and everything strat.
I think, even though it is a pretty strong skill evolution, it is one that Taromaiti deserved. Which is, in the case of Tindalos, he did not deserve that skill evolution. He did not deserve better. But he certainly did not deserve whatever we are going to discuss in the final topic.
It's not
But,
that bad.
Yeah, it's
Or
It
that
is.
rather.
It is. He was already the strongest defensive unit in the game. He did not deserve that skill evolution.
Not
But
bad.
but yeah,
Okay.
But
we'll,
yeah.
we'll get to it soon. Let's not jump the headship too fast. Anyways, you can read out the chat now, Milk.
Yeah. Okay, final thought is that even if you ignore all the skill lock stuff, is that Taromaiti basically got a 3 times damage boost due to concentration and non-debuff weakening. So if you forget everything else, she still got like majorly buffed, just damage-wise.
He just does
Okay.
everything. Alright, good.
Oddly Rival says hello. It would be nice if they changed old unit time activation. They actually kind of did with Gyobu right now, but yeah.
Yeah.
If you thought the stream was lacking girl bosses, where you no longer, here's Taromaiti. Yeah, she's pretty strong, and she's pretty good. Bomb privilege. Taromaiti joins the Oz party. Taro, Oz being besties. Technically you could already use her with Oz, but nobody really wanted to because it was Taromaiti.
Yeah, it was like
So,
a lack
yeah.
of damage, and the only utility would be just the remove buff part. Which, I mean,
Well,
it would
Dark
be-
Lord has the CP decrease too.
yeah,
yeah.
it's okay. I don't know. It's just if you're.
There's
I
a lot
I
of better options.
I forgot to like comment on this, but it's more of like a general kind of discussion of units with Oz. It's like we kind of had 2 categories of units with Oz, and that was the ones you pair just strictly for damage, and then the ones with utility effects like Masanori or like Miniaki's Hot Spring variant, or Jurong
Yeah.
even. And Taromaiti is just like a really shitty utility unit within that camp, because there's just better utility options then. But I think the difference now is that with this Evo, she's actually has more utility, and actually is the bridge to also being a damage healer that can just board wipe with Oz. So
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's like both.
yeah, so I don't
Yeah.
think there's any other unit that was able to really do both before, and Taro's
I
kind
think
of a
the
god.
closest was like Akiha, Summer Akiha, because he had like
Oh,
some
is that?
skill locking thing, right?
Oh
had,
yeah, it
like,
was like
binds
60%
to
bind. I
make-
remember that. I used to rely on that low S rate for chapter 12 farming, but now that I think about it, he would be pretty good for damage. Although it was just bind in the end. Taromaiti can do so much more than that.
Yeah, Taromaiti's at like 90% rate.
Yeah.
Due to her concentration.
Guaranteed.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
She is a knight defending her friends. Yes. Ozstock's rising. Hey guys, just got here. That was said by John Rivera. Also, I find it funny, her and Kalki got really damn good evos that drastically made them better units. And then there's Shinya. Well, Shinya could get a second, third evo, like Taromaiti, so here's hoping.
Maybe.
It kind of makes up for the lack of ults all those years. It makes me wonder what kit they would give her at this point. Well, to be honest, Taromaiti's ult has a pretty high bar to like overcome, given her base base 4. That I don't think you would really want her ult just for her kit. Maybe for ult, but yeah,
They could always
maybe
just
for
do
art,
like
but
a.
yeah.
They could always do just like a Festival of Ryota and release someone that's straight up worse than the previous cards.
Yeah, I guess so. Avenger. Think that's 7 pluses for Tata, please. His Valentine ult still needs a buff. Who's this Valentine ult? Probably Tata. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
so. I'll buff him all right. Devil face. Thinking emoji. Sorry, but Tindalos absolutely deserved it, and I'll stand for no less. Just being able to buff on a cross range does him a lot of favors.
This is the
Smiley
truth
emoji.
that
I disagree.
Kirby will not accept. It's right on
I
cue.
do not accept this skill evolution.
I guess
even
we
if
can-
you accept
Tindalos
it, it's the true Survey. The reality is already here. You have to move
I
on
do
with the
not
world.
accept this skill evolution. It's
You,
ridiculous. Worse than the Horkyo Kamui one.
It's really
Irby,
not.
you need to like manifest. What is it? The classic LifeWonders. Oops, we made mistake nerf.
I am manifesting it so hard.
It's not happening. The banner's already gone. Right, moving on. We're talking about.
I mean, that didn't stop Sandayu's nerf. It was after the banner was gone.
That's true.
Oh yeah, they also nerfed was it
Ruslan
Snowfight
and-
Yoritomo?
Did they?
Like really? Yeah, they like changed Snowfight Yoritomo's like charge skill like months later.
What was it? Sorry, I
No.
never knew about this.
Oh, well, like I'm pretty sure like Snowfight Yuri used to put like weakness on his CS, but now it's like paralysis.
I mean,
And
he
it was,
might have
like,
advantage
really-
or something, but yeah.
But yeah, it was like very strange because it was like half a year later. Yeah. But yeah, if you like go back and look at his charge skill, it's now paralysis instead of weakness.
It's probably just
So, yep.
some intern was like, oh, this should be process because of advantage. I don't know how it works out, but whatever.
But
Anyway,
yeah, they're not opposed to just changing things months later apparently.
I
Yeah.
hope they don't do that for Wakam Mugen. I'm eating too good with it. But yeah, Wakam Mugen Ziva is way too good. Anyways, we're moving on to Shennong's kit. So amazing. Wow. Everyone loves this unit for good reason because of how amazing his kit is. Alright, Barguest, take it away.
And here I thought we were going to do Tindalos next, just by assuming, without looking at it. But then we would end off with this thing, so probably a better idea not to do that. By the way, you are right, Ara, it did not take me very long to write these notes.
Yeah, I figured.
Right. So, Shennong, he got a very, very mediocre Evo, if you can even call it that. The range of his poison reversal increases from adjacent to a 2-square diamond range, which is cool and actually useful, except it still isn't available on turn 1, and it's still just 90%. So it doesn't really change how it's used. I guess positioning. Well, honestly, positioning wise, it doesn't even change much because he has a lot of adjacent skills still. So he's still going to want to be next to people for like his nourishment and his regeneration and all that hoo-ha, which I'll get into in a moment. He gains 10 CP on hit, so 20 CP if he hits both tiles. It's an 80% rate for some reason, which just makes it worse for no reason. And Shennong's CS isn't even very impressive. It just inflicts fatal poison and heals. He now has a 1.5 times multiplier versus fatal poison, so I guess there's that. CS does very slightly more damage because of it. And he also gives regen to self and allies on move, which is even worse at a 70% rate. Shennong's got okay regen to the team like this, with poison reversal, nourishment, and regeneration for a total of 1,300, including poison. But this requires him to move, and it's unreliable. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. With fatal poison, his CS deals 15.5k damage, and that's with also poison and poison reversal. So that's pretty paltry. Yeah, and that's pretty much just it. They gave him better range on his poison reversal. They gave him some CP regen and fail poison advantage. So that fixes nothing that was wrong with him, which is that his turn 1 was useless and that he doesn't really offer enough. And it doesn't even add anything actually interesting or effective. It's like, compare like the skill lock, concentration, and all that Taromaiti got to some CP and some regeneration. Wow. So yeah, Shennong definitely got completely dumpstered here because this is not useful at all. And also that regeneration was what I was talking about the poison reversal thing in range increase being silly. They increased that to a 2-square diamond range, but they still want Shennong to be adjacent to people anyway with regeneration. So I don't know what they're playing at here. It's very stupid. But yeah, Shennong bad.
I agree, Shennong bad. worst skill evolution of this patch. But they were worse on the last patch, so I guess it's not too bad.
It's pretty bad because Shennong already was really shit to begin with, so giving a shit evo to a shit unit is just funny. Like, at least that the unit's already usable, a shit evo is slightly more forgivable. But this is like... Poison's still not guaranteed, so like even if he can theoretically maybe reach enemies a bit, or allies a bit sooner, it's like it's still not safe. You have better, safer options to get poison reversal, or rather any damage mitigation up to allies. And the charge effect being added is just like for such mediocre damage. Like, why? The nourishment isn't even to himself, so he doesn't even benefit from that either. So it's literally just the multiplier from just that one advantage. And like, I guess the only thing I've noticed, he does an okay amount of healing, but like, really, an on-move healer that's like just adjacent? Really? There's no reason why you'd want to use this unit. He's like okay for generally use jack of all trades line clears for quests, but why sell for okay when there's just so much better options for doing general purpose clears? Like, for any known quest where you know the mechanics ahead of time, he's never gonna be optimal for anything. So just don't use him. Like, period.
We're all speechless at how bad he is.
Look, it's percolating.
Yeah, this Evo is shit. The only thing that I really cared about was that he got regeneration to himself, because he's kind of lacking on self-healing for, what was supposed to be like a tank, like outside his his base turn 1. But it was very annoying. Oh, he also got healing on his CS. But yeah, it was very annoying that what was it? We just went from like Taromaiti to this. Like, Taromaiti, I get a free triple damage, and I buff buff the entire team's damage by 1.5. Yeah, sure.
And Shennong gets the 1.5 just on charge.
And regeneration.
So bad.
Very important. Regeneration.
It was like Shennong anti-fan and
so
the
based.
LifeWonders team.
The one who was responsible for this Evo Red Virtual Summer Memories, it's like, wow, I'm gonna give this guy a kit he deserves. And that they did. That they did.
It's not the worst Evo ever, but it's very underwhelming.
Yeah.
After,
we had Christmas Seas last time.
I feel like
think,
it's nearly as bad as it could be, because it doesn't change his usage at all. And, like, it doesn't really make him better than other options either. And he's still frustrating to be used to begin with. So it doesn't change anything in a sense. Even the things that does change, it's like the poison reversal expanded range is not going to change anything. Let's be real, let's not. And, like, greater range for evasion would have been better, but no.
Yeah, I think like the things that I didn't really like using about Shennong 4 were not solved with this Evo, really. And I guess, with like the affiliations, because I don't think Taromaiti has affiliations.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that's the biggest downside.
He doesn't.
It's so
Maybe,
sad.
Maybe they're compensating.
If
with
Taromaiti had a
affiliations.
guild, I would have like invested everything in it just for the bigger damage. It'd be so funny. He's like my primary odds slut right now, for how good
That's
she
why
is.
people will roll for her variant, so they can invest on it, even though it's going to be shitty.
But her variant will never be good as her
There you
base.
go.
Let's be real. Her base gets already overtuned. Okay.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Even with
Maybe they will
affiliations,
do more
still annoyed.
overtuned kits. I mean,
Yeah.
definitely feels like they're doing a lot of overtuned kits recently, and also a lot of undertuned kits. Kind of been a mixed bag this year.
Yeah, because we had like Shamash.
I already forgot about him and we just talked about him.
Yeah,
He's not real. do not exist.
Okay, let's get out of here already. Zalgas, please take it away and read the chat.
Okay, where were we?
Wait, was it Solus? Oh no, yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was me.
We
I forgot
not
we
even
talked about
close to
Shennong.
Romeo.
I thought we were still on Taromaiti. Oops.
Our brain is being poisoned by Shennong right now.
No, not even close to Malcamo's buff is way better. LifeWonders, stop nerfing late. Nerfing who late?
They were talking about, what's it called? Sandayu as well as Yoritomo, yeah.
Those. Shennong, it's okay, question mark. Not really. Dr. Pops, but what if I bring him because his backstory is so deep and emotional? Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm
valid,
late but
honestly.
hi. Hi, Show. Shennong as a unit isn't the worst thing ever, nor is it the worst Evo ever. Yeah, but they're both mediocre, which when you combine that, it just kind of makes the whole package feel even worse. Hi, Show. But yeah, it's like the Chad Taro versus the Virgin Shennong. Yes. Just use his summer variant, you at least get some big damage at long slash, alongside some useful support stuff like debuff, removal, face start. I don't even remember anything he does now besides the stackable poison and sometimes charm, and his CS being poorly programmed to
I'm pretty sure
give
that's like
all stacks
50%
at
of his
once.
kit, because the rest is like Dazzle or stuff that doesn't even matter. I don't know.
It's Dazzle and Charm on hit.
Broken
Big
record,
range,
the ball. Yes.
Arousal
Also,
and hit or some
wow.
garbage like that, I don't know.
Oh yeah, also I guess I didn't mention it, but yeah, the real Shennong Evo was the 5-star AR with Yasuyori and Shennong.
Oh,
That
God.
gives him poison reversal turn 1. There you go. That's
No.
why they didn't add it here, because they wanted to market that.
It was
so
too
true.
powerful.
At, what was it, 50% rate or something?
I don't remember, but I only remember it was shit.
That was the Yasu skill Evo. Yes, of course.
No wonder it was
Poison
such a bad
reversal on the
AR,
unit who
because
had
it's-
nothing to do with it.
it was an Evo for 2 people. And doesn't save either of them. Okay, let's move on.
Oh god.
You'll now be talking about another unit which I think is pretty amazing. Wink wink.
It's no, you
It's
don't.
Nezha. Irby's gonna talk about him because apparently Irby is a Nezha apologist and was so angry at my
I'm
rating that
not.
he decided to like commit a sniper wolf and stalk me for making strong rating. Go ahead, Irby.
This skill evo is not that good, but I will say that I don't think it's as underwhelming as Shennong, because there are some decent damage amplifying effects here, but Nezha as a character was already a meme unit, and they continue to be a meme unit. This skill evolution does not change a lot. It basically, they increased the damage advantage against burn, which they already inflicted anyways on hit. So that's pretty okay-ish damage increase. And they gave them this really weird really weird debuff for enemies. The more distance they are from them or whatever, the more damage the enemies will take. So if the enemies are directly in front of them, they will take 1.3 times damage. But if the enemies are on the columns aside of them, they will take 1.5. So it goes on like this until it's the furthest away they can be from them. As in, if Nezha is on the leftmost side of the big map, and the enemies are on the rightmost side of the big map, which is probably never going to happen. But if you're clearing column by column, I guess it can happen, but it's never going to happen. This is also a bunch of irremovable debuffs, so they also increase the damage of everyone else. So it can be some decent utility, but definitely not very reliable. since the enemies directly in front of them will only take 1.3 times damage, which is worse than nourishment. The most weird part about their kit is the rest of it, really, because this already increases damage, not significantly, but a bit, yeah. Since they already have that meme mechanic of pushing themselves to the left and the enemy to the right, they already guarantee a 1.8 damage debuff on the enemy. So that's not up for the next turn. So that's not too bad, since they also have extended movement range to get close to them. But yeah, let's move on to the next part, which is now they apply crit to allies in round/slash range behind them, but it's only at 80%. This ability, I don't really understand what's here for. Nezha was never a supportive unit to begin with, but I guess you can use them for that now, even though it's very unreliable crit, and yeah, it's just not worth it. But it is a big range if you're using them on the front, and you're using defensive units behind them, because if they are at the front, they're probably going to die anyways, unless you're being really, really careful with their movement. And lastly, they also apply break on allies around them, or rather a debuff. Well, if the enemies die, they will apply break around them, which is also a damage boost for the next turn. And it also can help them survive a little bit longer, since the enemies around them will also be basically stopped. Their movement will be halted. This has some issues, obviously, because it cannot reach the third row, or rather the short range row. This is only going to affect the enemies in thrust range of the unit that died. So pretty unfortunate, but it does give them a little bit of survivability. So yeah, this skill evolution overall is pretty meh. It doesn't really change Nezha that much, outside of giving them a little bit of utility in damage amp, which isn't really that good to begin with, but it does help them deal a bit more damage for the solo Nezha meme clears if you're using them for that reason alone. I really don't know what happened here. I think this is definitely better than Shennong, but this makes well, I wouldn't say it makes slightly less sense than Shennong, but it seems pretty random skill evolution. I would have preferred just more direct damage and survivability, but it is what we get from this. It's not looking very great for improving how you're going to play Nezha, unless you're a masochist and try to use them like Ara did in his video.
Because that's the way they're intended to be played, which is a really shit way to be played. This is why I dislike this unit so much. It's like you are in... Like, the entire kit is entirely designed so that you have to move her every turn, and you have to move her far away from everyone every turn, or them every turn, rather, and only for, like, the most mid effects ever in the end. It's like... And it's like, that would be fine if there's no challenges, like, for dungeons, right? But it's like, add any other challenge on top of that, any other mechanics, and it's probably gonna be countered in, like, super easily, either by move disablement, or by, like, you know... the enemy just resisting damage on turn 1, or there's just too many things that could go wrong in an actual challenge with actual mechanics that it's like, why would you want to add more mechanics on top of that you're forced to play against? It doesn't make sense to me. Like, It's more of a philosophical design problem I have with this unit than like what they actually do in the end. But yeah.
I think it's pretty okay. It's a meme unit. I see it just as a meme unit. At least it's not a meme unit like Enigma. So I'm fine with that. At least they deal decent damage, and that's usually what matters for these kinds of meme units.
I'd like to add that I really hate how they keep on using that long slash or reverse long slash range. They just make it the entire row, especially for Nezha's case. The fuck. And like for the crit, it only reaches the 5 squares behind, which means if Nezha's too far, it's not going to be get the 2 allies behind. And it's already hard enough to get that effect to go off because Nezha's only low range in the end. So why make it even harder? This doesn't make sense to me.
It's fine, just use Nezha in only tall quests. There you go. They can give guaranteed
1.8
crit
times,
to the second row.
wow, amazing. For 80%, that's not even guaranteeable. Why is it not guaranteeable? And it's like, this is an Evo, right? I feel like this could have been... This
Yeah,
Evo could have been
the
put
crit was very random. I don't understand the crit, to be honest.
I think the
Should
idea
have been
was
something
how
else.
I tried to use it, but as you saw in that video, it just didn't work out. I feel like, as an Evo, it could have actually upgraded some of the other parts of her kit to make more sense. Like, I don't know, maybe add an acceleration strengthening, or maybe give her extended movement that's not just 1. Because it's like, so much of their kit is already dependent on having movement distance. And it's like, you're only restricting that on charge, which you can't really time that well properly either. It's like, why move them at all? I don't even know. It's not worth the name. It's just not.
I don't have any thoughts about Nezha because I did not have them for a very long time. And obviously, nobody has them up on supports. So
I wonder
yeah.
why.
So yeah. I don't think this is like the worst Evo ever, but I am kind of annoyed that the only thing that you can really use immediately out of the box on turn 1 is the crit. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. If that wasn't proof enough
Still-
that this was strictly a gimmick hit, it's like that opponent turn start thing really hurts any general utility. You literally have to waste time playing around the meme in order to make that useful by wasting 1 turn every phase start.
Yeah. I guess it, like, obviously I would have preferred just, like, regular turn start, but I guess that is a little out there. But who knows with, like, Taromaiti's Evo. Maybe that wasn't really out there.
Yeah, I don't know what to say, what else to say about this, honestly. Like, I mean, I guess the crit's nice. That's really that's the only part I can see, just because the opponent turn start thing is so dumb. Like, when you want to do damage, when do you want to wait until they've already taken a turn to do it? You really don't. You want to, take the initiative and kill them before they can do anything. So you're not going to be faffing around waiting for this, like, opponent turn start defense debuff. It's very silly like that. And I'm not bringing Nezha for 4 times.
Yeah, I'm sure like it could like look really cool when you get like the break and the
break
the,
and
the damage
everything.
thing pop off and then the crit. But
And the CS is very... The CS can potentially deal a lot of damage, but it takes too much effort to maximize everything.
yeah, it just takes time, and it's a little strange to just have it. So yeah, and like that. So yeah, that's all my thoughts.
Okay. Don't use Nezha. Alright. I don't think Zalgus... Or I think Zalgus already said his thoughts, so... Irby, you can read the chat.
Where were we again?
It is a mystery.
That
We
was
are
the
at-
Yasuo skill evolution.
Yeah, Yasuo skill evolution.
They're so cool, Harvey says.
They're so cool.
Ugh, Nezha. Nezha ruined my life. Don't use them. Harvey, my favorite they them. Harv, hello Ara. Nezha killed my grandma Thun.
I will never forgive Nezha killing my grandmother.
It's an alright buff, especially for a Warmongers unit. That 60% paralysis to attacking units is a lie. When Nezha is on enemy lines, that's actually 100%. That's true.
If you
I
remember
mean,
the
they did.
Warmongers
Rest in
coin
peace,
campaign.
Granny. Yeah, it was very high. Paralysis. It always felt like very hard.
So dumb.
Our Zopening. No. Nezha, more like no fun. I disagree. I mean, this is
Bottom.
like the fun unit. If you want to meme around, this is like definitely not the optimal unit ever, but it's like the meme unit, the fun unit.
It's like-
Nezha appearing in a future HDQ video.
In my eyes, choosing Nezha is pretty much the same on a conceptual level as choosing to use only 3 stars or mobs. That's like you're intentionally gimping yourself just for
I don't
funny meme.
think that's.
Nah,
I don't think
that's
that's
a little.
true. I think
much.
Nezha is still
Yeah.
better.
Yeah,
Nezha
because
is still
3
better.
stars,
The
3
thing
stars
is,
and
it's-
mobs, you aren't really getting that amount of like damage, and
Yeah,
oh, without
and
like
you
heavy
really need a
rerolling.
lot of damage.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that needs damage, so yeah.
Let's move on.
The surprised emoji twice. So she's still shit. Got it.
Yep.
LifeWonders giving a unit at 24 times team damage amp and then giving it the worst range and gimmicks possible. Yeah. It was too powerful.
That's
There you
just forget this unit existed. Anyways, moving on. We'll finally be talking
It's
about.
not that bad. It's bad, but it's not that bad.
It's very bad. We'll now be talking about the second best Evo in this batch, Tindalos. You're up, Milk Housamo. Your favorite, or one of your favorites.
Yeah. So what they did to Summer Tindalos was that they first buffed tenacity and protection so that their range of application, instead of being that 3x3 square, has 1 extra square on each of the 4 sides of that box. So now it's this diamond of radius 2. So now basically what that means is that Summer Tindalos can effectively double defensively buff the people adjacent to him. So that's pretty neat with tenacity and protection. And then the most obvious change is that he gives protection strengthening, tenacity strengthening, and unction strengthening to everybody on the board on his team. It lasts 999 turns, and it's all attack up 2.0x. So that's really, really, really good. Because now, Summer Tindalos basically gets a free 4 times damage buff to himself, and basically it's also another free 4 times damage buff to allies adjacent to him. So he's now both one of the best defensive units in the game, and he's also a pretty strong offensive buffer now. The last part is that he has this before hitting flat damage to enemies, where he decreases like 2k HP depending on his HP threshold. So in total, it's like 4k HP if he has full HP. I don't really care about this effect, but apparently, like, if you are like doing dailies, it matters or something. I personally don't care. So yeah. What happens is that Summer Tindalos, since he has this 4 times damage buff, if you move him, can kind of act as like a column clear. So the only caveat though is that you have to like heavily invest in him with seeds and blossoms, because his normal attack stat at level 70 is a pitiful 2002. So if you fully blossom him, you're basically doubling his attack stat. And yeah. And because of these changes, I've actually now been able to use him in chapter 14 farming. And it's pretty stupid.
Really? What's his damage?
Yep.
What's
In
his
chapter
damage?
14
Your
farming?
damage. I have damage calculated, but it's for base Tindalos, so I'm wondering how much you're doing.
I mean, I'm pairing him with Summer Lade, so
Oh, right.
he's
a
doing
bunch of
like
other buffs, right?
damage in like hundreds of thousands. Yeah. Like, yeah. So I don't that's not really too useful to say, but yeah, I'll just bring it up right now, like, because you have it, but I'm gonna just calculate it myself as well.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm getting that he does like 12k damage if you like fully invest in him. Obviously he's Valiant, so that usually gets halved, but that's pretty good for a unit who's supposed to be a tank, in my opinion. But yeah. Partners. Right. So I like to pair him with Yuma. It's kind of obvious since the tenacity strength things are different. So with Yuma, since Yuma gives a 3 times tenacity strengthening, Summer Tindalos basically becomes like a 12 times damage buffer. So very fun. The Unction strengthening is a little weird because I think the obvious answer to use this with, like outside of using Summer Tindalos' CS, is to like bring Summer Arslan. But I don't really like Arslan because his Unction range is kind of stinky. So
yeah.
I'd rather just stick with Beachside Chernobog if you want to do that classic tank combo. Obviously not something you'd use in farming, Beachside Chernobog, but yeah, it's there. Unction's still kind of a rare buff, so you don't really have that many options outside of weird people like Choji and Summer Arslan.
And
I don't really
the
think
Islander
you'd
or
want
whatever.
to be using Cannon Tangaroa either, because you have to move for it. But yeah. Yeah, Summer Tindalos, very good skill evolution, because it basically gave him free damage. 4 times damage even.
To everyone,
And he
including
basically
himself.
became like a Hote level buffer without having to deal with shitty gimmicks. And it's unique. Yeah. So, kind of stupid actually. I don't know if I'd say it's better or worse than or Cucumber Leaves, but I think it might be better.
What do you think, Kirby? Do you agree with this?
I think it's the most undeserved skill evolution I've ever seen in this game. And he was already a very strong tank unit. Also being an offensive unit now, an offensive buffer, is ridiculous. He's probably not the best offensive buffer. He's definitely not the best offensive buffer in the game, but you can allow some very silly team strats, which is
Yeah.
ridiculous. Especially since he was already one of the better units for this, since he already had extended movement, and his ranges were already ridiculous. This range expansion also allowed him to affect everyone now, basically, instead of just 2 people with both buffs. So yeah, I think this is a pretty strong skill evolution if you are if you really liked Tindalos before and already have him fully seated and whatever, this is pretty much peak skill evolution. Honestly, you could not have gotten a better one, I think, without it being too ridiculous.
So you admit this is
There's
ridiculous.
no... Huh?
So you admit this
What?
isn't too ridiculous then?
I mean, it is pretty ridiculous, but it always can be more ridiculous. I mean, they could have just slapped in ×6 tenacity strengthening, ×6 protection strengthening. It would be more ridiculous, yes. There's
The
always a
×6
possibility.
tenacity strengthening is including Yuma in the team.
No. But they could have, which would make it even more ridiculous. But yeah, I think this is silly, especially since unlike Taromaiti, which you kind of need to use a bunch of units, otherwise she just becomes a good unit to a very strong unit. Tindalos is already strong, regardless of what you do with him. You don't need to pair him with Smoky God and Hakan Mugen or anything to make him already do a pretty good job. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that they turned what was one of the most noodle-armed units in the game, who was designed mostly around tanking with a very slight amount of damage, to a hybrid who can do both pretty well. He can still do the defensive very well, and then he can do offense decently well. It's kind of ridiculous, actually. Definitely shits all over Shennong's Evo and Nezha's Evo, and honestly Gyobu's Evo even, because there's no gimmicks here, just straight up, just big numbers, which, I mean, is nice, I guess. But I don't know, it feels weird because Tindalos didn't release that long ago, I think, and then he gets this, and then every time I see these Evos for these recent units, and then old units just languishing in terrible kit land, I don't know, I get a bit sad, but it's a very good Evo otherwise.
And we have Taromaiti in this banner, who was exactly that type of unit you're talking about, who told the Evo, so it's not like they're ignoring them.
We need a buff to Fenrir.
Yes,
Fenrir
actually. Especially his fucking band variant that got a terrible skill Evo that I hate.
That was those ones.
But yeah, there's a slew of old bad units that people would rather forget about than buff, apparently. Like Kakutsuchi.
I'm surprised he still hasn't received an Evo, but I guess there's a few genuine units still like that.
Yeah. There's quite a few now that I scroll through the list. Oh yeah, there's Jin.
So
There
Pollux,
you
regular.
But it's in his character to be cooked in story and in game.
Oh yeah. Back to Tindo's Evo. I slotted him into chapter 14 farming, and it's so bad now that I actually have like a semi free slot that I was actually able to put in like Tions in 3 and still get a 1-turn clear without affiliations. So yeah, there you go. Very stupid Skivo.
You should bring my Anvari 4 instead, that's equipping the Blossom Booster. Optimal.
No, the free slot's on my own team, so it's not yours.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
He's okay, I
So, yeah.
guess. I don't know. I kind of like big explosions as board wipes, so it's just like, I don't see myself using Tindalos ever, even if he bought this bomb-ass Evo, it's like, or I could just use Oz, Smoky God and walk on. I think that setup has destroyed my mind completely. I'm a lost cause.
I think, yeah, I think you're too focused on that setup
But
that
I
you even
have
think
it. How
about
could I
using
not?
anything else. If it doesn't work with those 3 units, it doesn't exist anymore.
That's true, I guess. Alright, I'll probably remember Tindalos in case that setup doesn't work, in case I need tankiness as well as damage. Tindalos might be the best unit when it comes to having a balance of both. when it comes to just straight up multiplier advantage, he might be the best unit in the game, having 2, possibly even 3 defense mitigations on top of actually 3 and possibly 4, including Angshin, including buff reversal, and then having like 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 different amps with buff reversal again. Yeah, that's like 8, like an 8-fold advantage. That's a bit too much, but you know, part of it sacrificed in offense. So I'll just have to see. But if quests ever get harder, then Tindalos might be my main guy. He's still pretty weak when it comes to his original lackings, though. He still needs healer and debuff mitigator, because if he is prevented from moving, then that's like his entire kit is pretty much gone. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's why I like the combo of Beachside Cherno Bog with him, even if Beachside Cherno is like a very, very old unit comparatively.
Does he have
who
debuff
has not
I guess
gotten
he has
buffed. He has a like nullified debuff to himself, but yeah, not really debuff nullification for the team.
Oh.
Okay, I'm gonna read the comments.
Yeah, good.
Here it is, the best buff of the pack. Seriously, it helps him a lot on being a more functional supportive unit. I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, I kind of feel like the Summer Tindalos buff is because like all the Japanese people were like whining a lot about how like underpowered he was. But he was like, he's fine, you just have to like wait. But, you know, I guess Akiba and Dragons was kind of slow. And the farming was really shit. So whatever.
Wasn't it like optimal just
I
bring
wanna
like
be-
a 4-star unit for that anyways? Was the
Yeah, it was
commander
like
they are.
better to bring like Zurong 4 or something. Or I don't remember. Like for the support, right?
Yeah, it was
because,
funny. They
like-
should do that again.
You could equip the AR. It was like strange. Whatever. I want to be his ice cream cone. Affectionate. Taromaiti definitely got the best buff, but Tindalos doesn't need to worry about positioning anymore, and that's nice. He can like kind of worry about positioning, but yeah, it's a lot more flexible.
Don't forget to
me when
turn
I'm
on
like,
what's it called direct chat if you're missing any chat comments.
is this like top chat?
Yeah,
Which like live chat? Jesus.
yeah, I don't do it either.
I hate this Olgi buff blueberry. Amazing message. Me when I might break you. Affectionate. I'm gonna hug him. Wow. My Tinda is strong. Wish I got Summer late, but at least I have Summer Arsenal to activate the Angshin Strafing. LMAO. Summer Shiva, the cartwheel emote. Here's waiting for Perma Tindalos' buff. Oh yeah, I forgot to say this about Summer Shiva. Is that if you're like insane and are using like Shamash with Summer Shiva, don't do it because of the darkness resistance. Okay, yeah. All deserve love. What was Valentine's Seth's Kivo even about again?
It was like,
It was like some
Anchor
anchor
defense,
strengthening
oh.
0.5x.
did you have to move for that? I think you did,
defense
right?
buff. You have to move for the anchor.
Yeah.
I don't know about the anchor strengthening, but you have to move for the anchor, so it's basically the same thing.
Yeah,
Pretty shitty.
kind of shitty. Yeah.
Shiva, Handshake Oz, Handshake Tindalos, Arrow having OP summer variants. Yeah, they're pretty strong. Summer Babe.
Yeah,
No, I think it was Zurong because it was like annoying.
I think
I
both
had to,
were
like, look at the
optimal.
all-slot.
Well, maybe not. I feel like both might have been actually. Yeah, either Summer Babe or Jurong might have been optimal boosters. I don't know how it worked out.
Yeah.
Euro?
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Yep.
At least Beach Turno is still usable. Permanent Turnobog still nothing but a bench warmer. Well, Permanent Turno has Phase Start Protection, and with this Skivo, he gets 2 times damage. There you go.
Incredible.
Can we
Showed
get
him.
Can we get JP to talk about Fleecho crying emoji? Yeah, maybe they'll like talk about him. But I definitely saw like a lot of whining during like Aqua and Dragons that Summer Tindalos was like very weak, and they were like annoyed by it. I mean, which is like kind of true. He was like doing piss ass damage, but yeah, he wasn't like that weak.
Yeah, so the CEO
Okay.
totally saved them now. That event's already long done after a year.
Yeah. Zo says, I'm gonna KMS. I'm leaving, okay? Bye. Good night.
Bye, Joe.
Bye, Zo. Said by Prisma.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mo.
that's it.
Can we have JP to complain about Gordon in the quests too?
I think-
please.
I think they were kind of, but I could be wrong. I mean, I kind of complain when like I see Gordon do like 1.8k on like the first hit of combo. I was like, what the fuck did you do?
Nothing is what he did.
I think they were more
Activated nothing.
complaining about how. I think they were more complaining about how like the wide quests were just stupid, right?
Where are you even reading these
the Loki.
chat from?
Loki was very unfair.
Yeah, they were like, how do I deal with this flat damage? You know.
Just
Okay,
bring
why-
the AR with the one AR that you couldn't even pull anymore. That also
Yeah.
gives bonus.
Anyway,
Okay, I'll just read the other comments.
sure.
But wait, you forgot Xmas Yasu. But wait, you forgot Sun Anniversary, Christmas. English is suddenly not my first language. Anyways, bye.
Okay,
There we
let's close off the stream. Thanks for covering all that remaining chat. So, dare I ask, what did you guys think about the AGF banners as well as the past pickup banner with the Evos?
I think
Shamash
the AGF banner is shit. The previous banner was okay. It wasn't great, but because most of the units were like permanent anyways. The only one you should have been fishing for was Summer Tindalos. Since if you really needed Taromaiti, you can just redeem her in like 3 weeks anyways, an anniversary.
But
Was
all
it already
my
3 weeks? Jesus.
yeah, it's so soon. Jesus Christ! I need to prepare ahead of time for that stuff. But you know, it might have been a bit worth it for new players if they'd rather save their tickets for other stuff like coins and certificates and seeds. There's a bunch of things to exchange nowadays. The
Well,
anniversary packs.
certificates is just a guess, but it's a pretty good guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly thought the last banner was pretty good to pull, but again, Wakan Mugen has ruined my mind irreversibly, so it's probably just okay overall. The Shamash banner, complete flop, except for Tangaroa, and even then, Fafnir is out right now, so that's probably a better choice to pull for him instead. And the AR banner, just don't. It's not even rated for anything. So pointless.
Yeah. I thought like the Summer Tindalos banner was like pretty good if you're like a furry, because you know, those all furries. Aside from like fucking Shennong being on it and really a lot of permas. It was like pretty good if you wanted like Festival Licho and Summer Tindalos.
I don't know. I
Like-
feel like a lot of people were complaining. A lot of people that wanted Tindalos were complaining about League Show. So, kind of felt like a little bit of a clash between furry communities. At least in Samocord. Like, everyone was just pulling Tindalos, which is trash talking League Show. I
Everyone
don't know.
just needs
Maybe
to
it's just
accept that
perception.
Summer Tindalos isn't that great, and they shouldn't cry so hard over not getting him.
Why are they trash talking Licho? Because they got spooked by him?
When they were aiming for Tindalos.
Pretty
Okay.
much. I think they just didn't want League Show at all.
Licho's cute though.
Not his kid.
Well, they can get my double Fafnirs and whine about that instead.
No,
I'm sorry, Mike, I shouldn't laugh to that.
so bad.
That you could finally make
Oh,
it.
there's also that festival banner too, right?
the festival
like-
banner.
What does it have?
The-
Like Halloween.
The one with
Sandayu,
Taromaiti.
Halloween Sandayu, Ellie.
Oh, you mean the human
Akira,
banner?
Summer
Yeah.
Akira. Yeah.
Taromaiti and Nezha.
There's
Yeah.
like Tianzin
It
too,
had
I
a
think.
good couple options. It was like mostly Taromaiti, but I think Ellie was pretty good too.
Mhm.
That's just my opinion though. A lot of people, you guys generally don't think that's the case, I remember, but I'm still gonna stick with my guns that Ellie is quite a good unit.
The Halloween Ellie is a good
Yeah.
unit.
Ellie and Ellie. She's-
Mm,
Okay, no one agrees, that's fine.
mm,
I'll die on this grade, it's
I
fine.
think she's not bad, but I don't think she's bad. She's a good
I
unit.
think you rated her as like 4-star out of 5.
It might have been 3 enough, might have been 4,
Challenge
but
quest.
she just like,
I think it was 4, and I was
Yeah.
like, interesting.
okay.
The Ellie agenda.
For units like on 4,
I think she's
it'd be
okay,
like,
but not that good.
it's just like,
But yeah,
me actually doing the numbers for tanking and healing and making it realize that it's just a lot easier to overheal how much damage you're taking with a tank with her. I think that's what sets it off. She just does so much unique things that other healers don't.
Okay.
yeah, I guess it's true for Barrett with other tanks. It should be nice.
Anyways, back to what I was thinking with the banners. It was like kind of funny because we went to like those 2 banners, which I thought were like pretty okay, like, you know, if you wanted them. It was a
Honestly, they
pretty
could have done a
good
lot
selection.
worse for a pickup. Yeah, overall, I know there were some stinkers, but
And then we
It
get
was
like
pretty-
AGF, and it was like trash.
GGF.
it was
Like
the base
trash.
boosted fart echo.
Like Spelunky in Shamash.
It was like they were like trying to one up the last AGF banner with like fucking Easter feel.
Yeah, I feel like the last AGF better was a lot better. Because it
yeah,
at least
it had
had
like Summer
Anvari.
Anvari. Yeah. Even like 3D Anvari, because like who the fuck wants
Thank you,
like,
Ara.
This is me.
with the
Shamash?
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just they completely succeeded in making Ishblanque 2, except now they're 5-star. Why?
Great.
I also don't really understand this like random ass furry AR banner, but it's whatever. We get new shit. I guess I can't complain.
It's just the bait banners. Everyone forgot that term, but it's literally directly before anniversary. They're worth nothing, but people are gonna pull anyways because they're dumbasses. So it's the literal bait
Now,
banners.
people think they're going to be a boost ARs for the next event, but
I think they did say they would be boosts.
No, they
but
said it would be. Yeah.
yeah.
They said it would
what?
be. They said on the info page it would be.
That's
Who?
not enough.
I didn't.
That's not enough to pull me in when it's like more than half the banner is just existing ARs. Like, why?
Not worth it.
Oh right, there was. Did you guys like have that thing yet? You know the the furry kid Masashi reveal? And did you talk about it in a previous stream or no?
I
I
mean,
don't think we talked about it in a previous stream.
We
No.
didn't talk about those
Michael
reviews
and
because,
Amaterasu soon.
it was cool though.
Yeah.
but,
Those guys
Michael-
are revealed.
and the cat. I forgot the name.
Quark.
Oh, Quantum.
Quantum.
Quantum. Yes.
Schrodinger.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I
banner.
think.
Yeah.
Lots of gay baby aliens.
Yeah. I think they're going to make some pretty good kits for them. Otherwise, who's really going to pull on those?
They're cool.
Maybe
I
they're
see it.
going like. Maybe they're going like low on Shamash, so that like anything that comes after looks like.
Yeah, it looks like the most amazing thing ever.
The
After
conspiracy
Shamash.
theories are real.
Yeah, the next rerun is going to have like the shittiest skill evolutions ever.
Oh my god, it all
It's
makes
just going to
sense
be-
now. That's why Snow 8 was such a
It's just
shit storm, so that chapter 14 would look better.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it kind of
Yeah.
works since like new semester did look way better.
Yeah.
So, obviously,
I mean,
faster,
it
like, yeah.
depends. It had Amdusias. And
Okay.
Korsha wasn't even that good to begin with.
Yeah, but it
Okay,
has
but
Oscar.
I
Or
actually
wait, was that in part two?
Yeah, I kind of said Fafnir might have been the best unit in the game, but the only reason, or for the past year, but the only reason I said that was because I forgot Oscar existed. I think Oscar's actually like the strongest straight up unit that was released this year.
I mean, it's still true for Fafnir if we're talking event units, because the events.
Yeah, just strictly.
The only one that could compete was like Summer Lave.
This year's been
Event
kind of mixed
units
back overall, but I enjoyed it most. But yeah, I think we can wrap it up. Well, the next topic we'll be talking about most likely is gonna be Anniversary and likely Chapter 15 Prologue was Amaterasu and what's his face, Michael. But we'll have to see. So I'll just close off the stream by reading that chat, and we'll say everybody's. I love the banner because I could skip it and it evoked.
Thank you guys. It was real fun. I think.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no.
Was it?
Yeah. You can keep reading. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I love the banner because I could skip it and it was evoked for most units I already have. Yeah, as I did strongly recommend pulling on it, but that's like obviously if you have the unit, don't already. And I'm sure a lot of people had most of those units because a lot of them were year 1 stuff. I saved and have vacation. Indeed, Anniversary is coming soon, so save up for that. We should be getting 7 tickets in total, so it's kind of funny how large that number is, because if you're not getting coins or anything like that, then that's 7 free like permanent units, which are 4 stars. And at that point, it's like you have like almost no reason to pull anyone from the year, right? I don't think we got like 7 4-stars this year, right? That are gacha units. So it's like you can just get them all. There's no reason to pull for 4-stars nowadays if you're just planning to do that. It's kind of insane. Can't wait for ours review.
So I guess if you also
this year.
Sorry, what?
Really?
I mean,
did you say 7 4-stars this year?
Did we even get 7 4-stars this year that were in the gacha?
I think we did. I think we maybe did.
Let's see. We had 4 from new semester.
I'm looking at the list now, so.
And we had 2 from the summer events.
2 from chapter 14.
Yeah. Did we have 2? Okay, I guess that's 8 in total. It's very close to all of them.
We had Kanzun, and what? Oh no, never mind. Beowulf was
Beowulf
limited.
Doesn't count. Beowulf, you can't redeem Beowulf, so it's literally just 7 in total.
It was 1 from the chapter. Yeah.
And Efkari is completely permanent, or limited. So it really is just 7 in total that was released that was permanent. So. Yeah, you could just skip all the year's banners now and redeem them all. It's pretty crazy.
You could also redeem them all on Eta, so he never appears in your pools again.
Stop.
That's also a strategy.
The Eta
can you redeem 7 copies of a unit?
You can get only 2 of each copy.
Know.
You can only get 2 of each
yeah,
copy.
That's what I
yeah. Oh, it's for everyone. Oh, that sucks.
I know some freaks out there are actually going to redeem multiple copies. Please do not be like that. Well, I guess it's unless it's Yuma. Yuma's actually a decent choice for it in this case. I might get him just 1 copy though.
Leonan SA.
No. Just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Just stop. It's the cred.
Just stop. Lost my place. Can't wait for ours review of Michael and Amaterasu. I'm excited to review those units too. I was happy when what's his face? Isaac came out because I thought his design was cool. And then Oz came out, and then you could just Masanori him, and then Isaac became completely pointless. So, still, it was nice to meme on for like 1 video. I'm wondering if they can make Amaterasu and Michael interesting as well. Ellie is beautiful, and that's all that matters. Well, her kit definitely matters too, I think. I think Halloween Ellie is rated pretty high in the JP Wiki. The JP Wiki has a rating? I should probably check it out. I thought it was just straight up information, not actual ratings about it. Like in Yu-Gi-Oh! JP players value different stuff. Yeah. Oop. Like, she's a good unit to have in whichever state of the game you are for beginners and developers accounts. That's a pretty interesting take to make. But yeah, her healing would be substantial for both beginner players because of course healing is more important there. And her specialization would actually make her good for like late game healing as well. Thanks everyone for the stream. Have a good evening. Thank you. Just a few 4-stars. Bye bye, Klaus. Beowulf is limited. So it's 7 in total, like I said. Gary McCullough from new semester, Tinzen, Super so 7. Yeah. Great stream, everyone. So we'll go ahead and say bye now. All right, on 3, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Bye-bye.
Bye.